Hey guys, how's it going? I think for this one, like since I've been making these videos, the first one I did, I really want this to be very authentic, very kind of raw and just a conversation. So I think where I'm not doing these every day, it's kind of becoming hard to, I keep thinking I need something to talk about. I have to kind of, something big has to happen to make it a talking point. And it's becoming harder for me to actually like make it, it's pulling away from what it was supposed to be originally, at least mentally. I'm making these notes in this book where I'm writing down any kind of like big thing that I think someone else is going to care about and something that I think someone else is going to want to listen to. But getting into that mentality is pulling away from what I actually want this to be. So really like where I'm trying to like, I guess I'm trying to make these interesting, which that's not where I started at. I've only done like 5 videos so far, but like I want it to be interesting, but it's really the big picture. So just follow me along the whole journey. So if I was doing this every single day, just kind of like forcing myself to talk, just, about whatever, there'd be interesting days, there'd be uninteresting days. But I don't know what's going to be interesting to someone else. And, ultimately that's not what this is about. It's just about being raw, documenting the good bits, the bad bits, the boring bits, whatever. But it's just that at the end of the road, whatever the end of the road is, or at any point in time, someone could come back and look at this journey, and for me as well to go back and look at the journey. So I think I'm going to make a rule where like any time, so I'm kind of living between here and sometimes staying at my girlfriend's flat or house, sorry. So I think anytime I'm here, I'm going to make a rule for myself to just kind of enforce that, to make sure that I do these videos and it like stays in line with what it was supposed to be, just like a conversation update, whatever that looks like. I think I'm going to make a rule where every time I'm here at my flat, I'm going to just record a video. Even if I think there's nothing interesting to talk about, I'm just going to start talking, see what happens. Even if it's like 2-3 minutes, because oftentimes I start talking and then, I just start actually remembering stuff throughout the day. But yeah. So today launched the campaigns for my client that I was talking about in the last video. So I was a bit hesitant as to whether or not to launch them today because technically I should have warmed them up until tomorrow, but I told the client Monday or Tuesday, and he messaged me on Slack saying, "Hey, how's it going? Are we launching today?" And I just felt a bit of pressure because it was already late. They should have been launched last week, but because of the email issues, I couldn't launch them then. So I kind of just took a little bit of a risk and decided to launch them today, but all looks good. They're all going to inbox, so far so good on that side of things. I think it'll be fine. I always have very high expectations, or kind of like, you kind of just think this campaign's gonna like really blow up in a good way. But no responses as of yet, but that's very typical. Like generally, I've never seen a campaign perform amazing on the first day. It takes time for these things to happen when you start sending the follow-ups, gaining that interest. Maybe people are busy, whatever it may be. But, as soon as I start to see a campaign where it's not, where I have this expectation that, okay, this is going to do really well. And then after like one day, it's not doing well. I do start to slip back into that, like, again, what if this doesn't work? What if, that disasterizing or whatever you call it, where I'm just thinking the worst and like worrying that I'm not going to be able to perform with this client, worrying I'm not going to be able to deliver on the results that I said I would be able to deliver. So, but it's all part of the process. At the end of the day, there's always a risk that's going to happen. I had that with my first client where we only booked them 2 meetings in 3 months. So that's just the name of the game, and it's a case of kind of like just keep working with people and doing the best that I can do. And I've proved before that I can do it for companies and do it really well. So it's just a case of just rolling with it and just building that confidence, because I've done it for 1 so far. When I do it, I've done it for 10 in the past. It's just going to keep expanding, and I'm going to kind of learn, okay, because I don't actually know which companies at the minute are I don't really disqualify. Everyone always says you should disqualify people all the time during discoveries, sales calls, whatever, but I never do that. I always just, I don't think I've ever done that. I've probably done like 20 or so discovery calls, and I don't know how many proposals I've made, but I think, yeah, just as time goes on, I'm going to get to a point where it's just learning, and it's learning about just building that pattern recognition of like understanding, okay, this client has this kind of price point, this is their target market, you know, I've worked with this kind of client before and it didn't work. You know, I'm just going to have a much better understanding through experience. So we're still very early on in this game, and I think it's just a case of just building that experience. That's really what I'm trying to do at the minute. It's just kind of like onboard as many people as I can and just get as much experience as I can. And obviously that's going to help me financially too. You know, I'm not going to work with someone if I think there's zero chance it's going to like email marketing or cold email lead generation is going to be a good fit for them. Then I'm not going to be disingenuous and say, yeah, let's go for it. That's not what I'm saying, but I just haven't got that experience yet to like really know, is this going to work for them? Because I do genuinely believe that that it is applicable to everyone. You just have to find the right messaging, the right prospects to target, and if there's a good fit between the messaging and the prospects, then it should be good. But I think there's always a risk that the profitability of what you're doing, like my first client, for example, their price point was around $600 per month. They're paying me $2,000 per month. So really, for it to be profitable, at least short term, I'd need to be getting them sort of like, I don't know, like at least one or two, looking at their lifetime value, right? So if a customer's paying $600 a month and they're with a company on average for 2 years, then I'm shit at mental maths, but whatever that is. So yeah, all is to say that I'm not going to work with a company for the sake of it. I'm not going to be disingenuous and lead someone astray just to get some money, but it's just building that experience and identifying who is good to work with and who isn't good to work with. But that's going to just come with time, and I think in the meantime it's just managing those emotions and managing like the bigger picture, and it's day one and not to like worry about it. I think that is natural to some extent, because again, as I said before, it's, you know, a lot's kind of lying on this. Like I kind of have to make things work at the minute financially, because if I don't, then it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But it will work. You know, I've got a lot of faith in the fact that this is I'm doing the right thing here. And as much as it's a big risks have potentially big rewards, and I'm sure that's going to pay off. So just going to keep going with that. I've got a lot of discovery calls booked in as well. So I've got my US campaign running for my own prospects. I've got I can't remember which one I just said there. Start again. I've got the US campaign running. I've got the EU campaign running. So kind of just targeting everywhere at the minute, or at least in the Western world. And still waiting on those emails to be with Inframail. They're doing some kind of update at the minute that's supposed to make things better, but I can't use their email accounts at the minute. So I've got 20 email accounts separated between two campaigns. When the Inframail email accounts come through, that will give me another 15. So that'll help a lot more with getting the volume out and actually just increasing the volume. Volume's key, really. I've kind of tested the angles in my campaign. I'm quite happy with that. I know there's a good, I kind of know what to expect. I've ran the campaign once with that, with those angles. I contacted around 2,500 companies, got around 40 opportunities, which is interested leads. And from that got, I think, around 10, I ended up doing 10 proposals for companies. So I can likely expect the same sort of statistics going through my new campaigns. But just I watched a video the other day, and I'm just thinking in terms of like where I want to go with this. Obviously, lead generation is kind of the beginning step into a bigger picture. I think the ultimate goal is to move into sort of full like business growth. So not just that, you know, you're generating the leads, but then also like, okay, how can we optimize your business to generate as much revenue as possible? Is there something we can do to kind of like limit the churn, limit your customers canceling their subscriptions? You know, is your sales pipeline optimized? Is your website high conversion? You know, anything like that. And Levy from Agency Velocity, he released a really good video the other day. I'll put that down in the description if I remember. I'm not very good at writing descriptions. I normally just leave them blank, but it was a really good video. Just kind of like, he had a massive like flow chart breaking down the whole service. So I've actually got it up here. Starts at like, is your client already booking 10 calls a month? Yes, no. If they're not, can't even read that from here. Okay, start outbound with a cold email. And then it just goes into loads of other stuff, you know, like it goes down into like, maybe you need to update their sales letter. Maybe you need to, I don't know, there's loads of stuff on it, but there's loads of stuff to do. And I often find myself like, I found myself doing this a lot at the beginning. So a few months ago when I got started with this, I was like, there's nothing to do, I haven't got anything to do. But there is always stuff to do. And my brother said this to me when I first started. I was like, I haven't got anything I can do. He said, there's always stuff to do. But as you get like deeper into this, you do start to realize there is always stuff to do. You can always be optimizing your campaigns. You can always be learning more. You can always be prospecting. You know, prospecting can be quite advanced sometimes. With Clay as well, there's loads of learning there. Clay's a very, very powerful tool, and there's a lot to learn about it. But I think that's something that can really set you apart. It just allows you to build some really powerful automations and personalizations on there. So I think where personalization is becoming very very popular now. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing the same sort of thing, the custom first line. It's becoming harder to set yourself apart. So where a personalization would normally be something I was like, oh, this guy's done his research, it's now most likely coming across as, oh, this is another cold email. So you're constantly having to kind of just find how you can get one step ahead of what everyone else is doing. And that's how you're going to set yourself apart. The worst is just trying not to come across as, you just have to come across as different. And in order to do that, you have to identify ways to achieve that by doing something no one else is doing. So that involves doing your own research, kind of identifying your own strategies, and just thinking, planning and adapting on the fly. But yeah, I think that's something I'd really like to move into. I think that's the big play. But step one is getting very good at lead generation, really understanding this and mastering the actual first start of the pipeline, which is generating the leads. And then from there, okay, how can we boost your revenue as much as possible? So it's like an add-on service, so you can do the full service delivery. As well, like LinkedIn, that's something I've not done. LinkedIn, so what I'm doing is just purely email lead generation at the minute, but obviously LinkedIn lead generation is another thing a lot of people do, and it's just another avenue to tackle. And I spoke about that with one of my clients about doing that. So the one I'm thinking about moving on to retainer, we've spoken about doing LinkedIn before. So it's just a very good upsell. You can say, okay, we can do lead generation email for this price, and then for an additional 1,000, whatever it may be, we can do LinkedIn as well. And you're just kind of attacking from both angles. So with that client I was talking about, you know, we'd go through the email campaign, and anyone that didn't show any interest in reply, we've then got their LinkedIn profiles, which you can then put into a LinkedIn campaign. We can retarget them with that. So we're just continually going through this list and just gonna work through it. But there's lots to learn on that. I don't really know anything about LinkedIn lead generation. I think the messaging is probably largely similar, but there's a lot more to think about in terms of like sending contact requests. You know, obviously you don't have to do that in email. But yeah, there's lots of stuff to do. But yeah, I think, you know, I've been feeling pretty positive again. It's very up and down. Some days you're feeling really positive and you get that rush of excitement about how things are going, and then the other minute literally it just dips down and you start to worry about stuff. But it's got to ride the wave, and hopefully it's just an upwards trajectory until I get to a point of stability. I spoke to an accountant today because I think that's something I really want to be sensible with, because at the minute I've been quite sensible. I've just been putting 30% of all earnings into a tax pot, so I've been keeping that there. Before I landed this client, I was thinking I'm going to need to start spending that, because I had like £120 in my business account and I was just running out of money. So I thought, like, okay, I've got that there if I need to. I don't know when you need to pay your tax bill, but I think it's like April in the UK. So I was just thinking, if I need to, I've got that money there. But this client came at a very good time, and yeah, that's really helped with the cash flow issues. But yeah, I spoke to an accountant. He's around £150 a month. He works with like 1,600 companies. I actually met him at a wedding not too long ago, but seems like a very good guy, really knows his stuff. So I just need someone to handle all that stuff for me, kind of tell me what I can and can't expense, what I can and can't like spend out my tax money. You know, I just, it's a lot of admin to worry about that stuff. So if I can just pay someone to do that, and now I've got a bit of income, I think it makes sense to start getting the ball rolling with that, because I'm going to have to do it at some point. So I think now's a good time to do that. Anything else to talk about? Yeah, another one is like, I used to play a lot of video games when I was younger, and this is very nerdy, but I used to play a game called RuneScape, and I would spend so much time on that. Like that was literally my entire childhood. I'd spend, you know, probably minimum 6 to 8 hours a day on that game. Like, finish school, play, weekends I just play it all day. But like, used to get this feeling like if there was a big quest that I had to do, it was like kind of exciting but also daunting. And it was like, okay, I need to get that thing out of the way. And I guess that was like my dopamine system motivating me to do this quest for a particular outcome. And since I've stripped all that stuff away, I got that feeling the other day. So I'm using something called Instantly at the minute, and that allows me to just send emails out. That does all my warm-ups and stuff. And a lot of people have been moving over to something called Smart Leads, which is supposedly better. There's a few extra things on there, and I think the overall experience and UI is better. But it's a big pain to move over. So it takes like 8 to 12 hours to move all your email accounts over, all your campaigns over. So it's kind of like, when I thought about it, it was like, I need to do that. And I had this like feeling where I was like, the same feeling I had when I needed to complete a big quest in RuneScape. I had the same feeling about doing that. And I just thought, like, this is obviously where like my dopamine system's almost being rewired to start motivating me to do these things, like these important things. So yeah, I felt like that was a very, very good sign, because I've not had that sort of feeling about this kind of stuff for a while. And I've got no interest in playing games at the minute. Like, when I was younger, I used to play games all the time, and that would be my biggest, most distracting thing. Like, if I signed up at the gym, I'd go for a few months, motivation was like high, and then as soon as motivation dipped, I'd start making excuses like, oh, I'm gonna play COD tonight. I'll train tomorrow. But past year, I mean, it's gradually been decreasing the amount I play video games. But like, I genuinely have no major interest in playing them right now. A new game came out the other week that I was really looking forward to. What's it called? Starfield or something, a Bethesda game. And downloaded it. I've got the Xbox in here, and I downloaded it, and I got back when it was like the launch day, and I turned it on. I looked at the menu, and I was like, no, I've got work to do, and like, this is genuinely much more important, and I'm getting much better at actually prioritizing these, like what is important, because it's a fucking waste of time. And I think there's a time and a place you can do this stuff, but it's like watching series, stuff like that. Like, it's all a massive distraction, and it's very easy to get sucked back into stuff. And before you know where you are, you're like 3 seasons deep on something, or you know, I've wasted like 2 weeks playing a video game, and especially not having a job anymore now, I'm in that kind of like danger zone. There's no time for like messing around with stuff like that. Maybe if I'm one day making big money and I've got no worries, then I can do stuff like that. But I don't know, I'd like to think this stuff, all this, I'd have more interesting things to do at that point. But yeah, that's a positive step. So I'm just gonna have a look at my little notebook. Yeah, my car was fixed today. So I was obviously, I said before about my car breaking down. I was worried that it's going to cost loads of money. Had the oil light come on, and then my girlfriend's stepdad towed me to the garage yesterday. We dropped it off, just left it there, and I thought I was going to be without a car for weeks, having to get the train. And I called him up today, and he said it's fine, it's running fine. I've no idea what the issue was, but I mean, it cost me 20 quid to sort out, so I can't complain. But it's very nice having a car again. I think it's very distracting having to think about, I need to catch this train, then I need to walk to the train, I need to make sure I've got all the, like, I've got to carry so many more bags, I can't put stuff in my car. Just that mental, yeah, there's just so much more to think about, and it's so much nicer just having a car and having that flexibility of, okay, I'm going to drive here, drive there. Is much more optimized. I was talking before about optimization, and having a car is a huge optimization for time. Getting the train takes ages to walk there. Got to sit on the train. Okay, you could do work, but not really. It's like a 10-minute journey. But yeah, I just think having a car is a massive optimization. But yeah, I've got two calls this week, both on Friday. So I think I'm going to record them, one or the other. I'm doing it at my girlfriend's house because I've got to look after my son at lunchtime, which isn't ideal because there's no furniture. Like, I've moved the office out of there to here, so I'm gonna have to do them on the floor. So maybe I won't record them. I don't know. We'll see. But they're only discovery calls. I think the important ones would be the sales calls, but maybe I'll record them and upload them. But yeah, I've got a couple of sales calls coming up in next week, so definitely going to do them. I think that's going to be really cool to document and just kind of have a clear progression where I can look back and think, okay, that sales call was terrible. Look how far I've come. You know, I find when I often do these Loom videos, and I'm doing it now, even in this video, I find when I'm talking to myself or when I'm doing a video where I'm not actually communicating with someone, I find my communication's like worse. When I'm actually talking to someone, I find it's a lot easier to get my words out. So in my email campaign, I say, can I send over some more information? And then the more information is I send over a Loom video. So I just talk about our service. Hi, my name is Ben, blah, blah. But I find myself always tripping up over my words in these videos. I don't know, like the pressure, like there shouldn't be any pressure because I can just press reset and do it again. But yeah, I was literally thinking that earlier about like, why does that happen? Why do I trip up over my words when I'm talking to myself and not actually talking to someone, but when I'm talking to someone, it's fine. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just a practice thing. Maybe it's just like because I've only done like 10-15 Loom videos, and they did used to be awful at the beginning. I used to be really, really bad at doing them, and I used to get so angry. It'd be like 8 or 9 p.m. and I'd be doing this video, and it's just a 2-minute video, just meant to be just like really simple, and I just kept saying the wrong thing, or I'd get like nearly to the end and I'd say something stupid, but I was too worried about making it perfect. I think that was a big thing. Too worried about making it perfect and making it sound really like polished. And I think that was where the problem was. So it's vastly improved from there, but I still do it. But what I'm doing now is just like, okay, cool. Like I did one retake today on a Loom video. Just because I think there was a better angle I could like approach it from. But again, yeah, I still tripped up over my words a little bit, but it's fine. He actually booked a meeting in. That's one of the discovery calls on Friday. So yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. Just, you know, like with this, like I was saying at the start of the video, just kind of getting stuff out there. Let's not care about it too much. Let's just record, see what happens, not make it perfect, you know, and just being authentic, real, like I'm talking to someone. And the only way to do that is just kind of just record, send, and get it done. So but yeah, I think that's enough for this video. What am I doing tomorrow? I haven't got anything in the diary for tomorrow, so I think tomorrow I'm gonna work on like building this chart out that I said from Levy's video, just in terms of the like whole growth. He calls it the agency service delivery guide. I think I'm going to work on building that out and just kind of like use that as a model, create my own, just kind of have that pathway of like, okay, how can we provide the best service for our clients as possible. I also need to, I really need to update my website because the video on there is like terrible. I did it before I'd even started, and it's embarrassing to look back on. That's a very good example of me tripping up over my words. I even like edited it and cut bits out to make it like seem seamless. So I really need to redo that. But in order to do that, I'm following a completely different structure. So writing a massive sales letter, just making it so it's like it'll be like a 20 to 30 minute sales video reading through this sales letter, and it's meant to be a very hard-hitting no-brainer offer where they read through it, they read the presentation. If someone does, it's like, okay, great, this sounds fantastic. Got all the customer examples in there of how we've helped other clients, why it's better than doing this, why it's better to outsource this and hiring this in-house, you know, paying an SDR to scrape leads, manually call people, manually email people. This is a far more cost-effective and higher conversion solution. But it takes a lot of time to do that. It's kind of like writing a mini dissertation, like at uni and stuff. So I have been putting that off a bit, but I definitely need to do that. And I don't think I've got loads of other, like now all my clients' campaigns have been launched. I haven't got loads in the way of stuff to do for them. It's just a case of like monitoring and communicating. So not loads to do there, but this is where rather than doing client stuff, I need to pivot and start again investing that time back into my own business and just to keep building from there. So it's really going to just be a balance of like, okay, I'm doing my own stuff, okay, now I need to pivot and do the client stuff, and just keep working like that. But as I said, there is definitely always stuff to do. But yeah, that's the plan. Again, thank you for listening to the video. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.